Hi, my name is Jamie Privratsky. I'm a faculty in the Department of Anesthesiology at Duke. I attend in the ICUs at Duke as an intensivist, and I also in the ORs doing anesthesia, and I also run a basic science research lab studying acute kidney injury. If I had to choose a career outside of medicine, I think I'd be a pastor. Or a dream career that I would really enjoy doing would be to own and cultivate a vineyard, because I think it would be really fun, the pastoral setting, hosting people, and then I think I could have a lot of fun with the science behind making wine and doing that. I probably would say I tend to engage more in private prayer outside of, except for when it's at church or small group. And I would say, especially over the last year or so, my prayer life has grown quite a bit as I've read some books and just learned some new prayer techniques. And I think more than anything it's been a time for me to reflect on how God works and how good He is, as He reminds me of stuff. And it just brings, even as I've started to, if there's certain things I'm worried or stressed about, just becoming a lot more consistent reading in prayer, and I can see Him then answer over the course of time. So that can be very tricky. I've prayed with patients before. There's been a number of times where families either asked for the doctors to pray, and I'm more than happy to do that. I've also had circumstances where I've just felt convicted that I should just ask this family if they're okay if I pray for them, and patients are most times receptive. And then there's been other times where I know that the family, it's either a very difficult decision for people of faith, and so I've offered to pray with them. It's definitely something that I think I could do a better job at asking more often, and even just as a realization that I'm not here just to provide a service to the patient, but I'm here as an ambassador of Christ. So I know when I'm heading into especially the ICU for a day or in the operating room, I a lot of times will just pray to the Lord, realizing the magnitude of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. These are patients whose lives are in my hands. And so I truly pray to the Lord, Lord, help me to be wise, to be discerning, to be knowledgeable, to be able to act quickly, and just guide my ways. I think too, one thing that as I think about this question, I would really like to start doing more is actually being intentional when I get to work. Like maybe almost how some people will say they'll walk around the neighborhood praying for different houses. I could do that for patients in their rooms, and I think that would be a really good thing to do. I'd actually done that with my research laboratory as I went in the building and prayed for some of the different labs around the building, and yet I've fallen out of that practice. Yeah, so I don't have specific Bible verses. One thing that I've done throughout at different stages is I was taught one prayer technique was to take, depending on the day of the month in Psalm, like the first, then would be the 31st, 61st, 91st, and quickly look through and see if any of them are applicable to your current circumstance, and then just pray it back to the Lord. One thing is I've learned more about prayer is in the past, so little of my prayer was scriptural based. It was more just presenting needs before the Lord. And so actually using scripture to pray God's words back to Him and His promises back to Him have been very useful in my life. One prayer that it doesn't really have to do with my medical practice, but in my personal life, Psalm 127, where he talks about, essentially that what we do is like if we're busy planning, it's the Lord that guides our ways, and then even our children, that they're arrows of His, and we're supposed to release them. And so that's something that I've prayed about my personal life a lot. It's always been a very meaningful psalm to me.